The 49ers' Nick Bosa-less defense did the best they could, but it was the 49ers' offense and the 49ers' special teams that dug the team into too big of a hole to come back from. We'll discuss how the 49ers dropped their first game of the season against the Jags on today's 49K Post-Game Live.
You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Sunday, September 28th. We just finished watching the 49ers drop their first game of the season against the Jags in Week 4. And before we get into the details of how this happened, I think it's pretty clear at the result of this game that everyone else besides the defense let this team down. And what I mean by that is we weren't really expecting the 49ers defense to look all too great today. I mean, their first full game without Nick Bosa. They also did not have Ronaldo Green. And on the other hand, the 49ers offense had Brock Purdy coming back. They had Juwan Jennings coming back and Demarcus Robinson coming back. So you say, hey, the offense is getting some reinforcements. This is the perfect time for the offense to maybe help out the defense a little bit. First few weeks of the season, this team was very complementary to each other. You know, so you were seeing some good things from both sides of the ball, and some okay things from special teams. It has not been great for the most part. It's been pretty bad for special teams. But in this game, again, a game where you could make some excuses for the defense just based on, you know, some of the players that they're losing. And then also you have a very young defense, right? So a lot of youth, especially in that secondary. You say, hey, I'm going to give the defense a little bit of grace, but I need this offense to be able to pick them up at times of need. Well, it was pretty early in this game that we saw that this wasn't going to be one of those games where the offense was going to be able to help out the defense really at all. Early in this game, the 49ers turned the ball over twice. Brock Purdy, 3 total interceptions in this game, if I'm not mistaken. There was also a fumble in this game, 4 total turnovers for this team. I mean, that's a recipe for a loss if I've ever seen it. And so, you know, really, that's really what it boils down to. There's not too much to analyze. It's really just a team that could not help their defense out. And a couple things that I talked about in the lead up to this game, I feel like kind of came into fruition. For one, you know, I did talk about the fact that the offense was going to have to help the defense. We did not see that today. But I also said in my Friday, preview show that, you know, I felt like this game was going to come down to which of the two teams was going to turn the ball over and capitalize on those mistakes. Well, again, very early in this game, we saw the Jags go up to an early lead just based off of those turnovers that the 49ers gave them early in this game. They had the 17 points at the half, 49ers just 6 off the 2 field goals. And so really they were playing from behind, you know, all game. And also a couple stats that I want to go over. 49ers are 4-40 in the regular season under Kyle Shanahan after falling behind by 11 or more points. It's not a very good statistic. Of course, that could be a cherry picking kind of stat. 11 points is quite a bit, but in any case, it just shows this 49ers team has a hard time playing from behind, playing, you know, in disadvantageous situations. So we saw that transpire as well in this game. 17 of the Jags' 20 points came from turnovers in this one. And I mean, yeah, that's the story of the game, you know, right there. So just really disappointing showing from the offense, really disappointing showing from Brock Purdy. I mean, he became the first 49ers quarterback with 3 straight games with multiple interceptions since JT O'Sullivan in 2008, who threw 4 in a game, or sorry, went 4 straight games with multiple interceptions. So Yeah, that's pretty bad. Brock Purdy clearly did not look 100% in this game. Several of his misses, almost all of his misses, really were thrown high. And Desi, I'm glad Desi's here in the chat, and feel free, Desi, to drop some comments here as well. But I texted Desi like kind of late in the game, and I just asked her, hey, like, do these high throws and high misses seem to be a result of, Purdy not being 100% to you? And she said yes. And like I chimed in and I was like, it just seems like he's not able to put his full weight on this foot. Maybe, you need some of that power off of that foot to be able to get those, especially for Brock Purdy. I think there's certain quarterbacks in this league that could throw off their back foot and be accurate. They have a hell of a arm strength. We see that all the time from some of the greats in the league today. Brock Purdy, not one of those quarterbacks. So the conditions need to be right for him. He can't always afford to throw off his back foot. In most cases, it's usually going to end up in a miss or an interception, right? So we saw that in this game several times where he's throwing the ball way too high over guys' heads. We saw a number of, I think, injuries. Juwan Jennings with the rib injury that I think he missed some time. He did end up returning in this game. Ricky Pearsall with the risque throw to the sideline that he ended up catching, but just not in bounds. Fell on his knees on that one. And remember, he was dealing with some knee soreness heading into this game. And he looked good before then, but landing pretty hard on his knee, just looked, he didn't return to the game. I think he tried to return for one snap and then immediately went back out. So I think everything just kind of fell apart for the 49ers offense. There were times where it did look like, they were trying to show some life, and they did. They made it interesting enough to where, in the fourth quarter, you're kind of like, hey, they still have a chance here. But ultimately, like I said, I just feel like it was way too big of a hole to dig themselves out of. And again, it was the hole that the offense themselves dug themselves into in the first half. And also, special teams did not help, giving up that punt return touchdown. This special teams unit and coverage unit is absolutely atrocious. Like, there's no better word to describe what we're seeing in the coverage units from this team. And it's been, I don't even have words other than atrocious, honestly. So very disappointing. You're just not going to be able to win games that way. And as we saw, the 49ers dropped this one. So let's get into just, again, how this happened. The 49ers, the first couple of drives, each team stalled in the red zone. 49ers had their field goal early in the game. The Jaguars punted early in the game. Then the 49ers fumbled off of Luke Farrell, the former Jags. We'll talk about another former 49er in this game. There's, I guess, some revenge games happening, but I think we know who won that battle in this one. So Luke Farrell with the fumble. And again, you're putting the offense with this turnover, who, by the way, like we knew that the Jags defense was going to be very aggressive. They had a lot of turnovers in the first 3 games of the season. So you figure, okay, we better protect the ball. Like, that should have been the number one emphasis for this team all week. I certainly didn't think the Jags defense was going to be bluffing. Yes, you could say they were going up against some easier teams in the first 3 weeks, but at the same time, hey, it does take some talent. It does take some, some ball skills to actually get turnovers. On the other hand, we're not seeing the 49ers defense come up with any turnovers, especially not in this game. No interceptions yet in this one. And they have a streak going, the 49ers defense. They have the streak going of 10 straight games without an interception. That's just not the kind of streak that you want to have in the NFL. But on the other hand, yeah, the Jags defense, they're for real as far as their knack for getting the ball. And so early in the game, getting that fumble from Luke Farrell put their offense, the Jags offense, in an advantageous position, starting their drive from the 49ers 48. And then ETN, who's been incredible this year, he he was running hard today. Ran and scored 48 yards. There was a missed tackle by Jason Pinnock on that one, the safety. I don't know when Malik Mustafa is coming back, but I know that, I've probably seen enough of Jason Pinnock at this point. Marquez Siegel at the same time, he's a rookie, so I give him grace. I'm like, hey, you're going to learn from your mistakes. Jason Pinnock is a vet in this league to where I just don't think he has it, right? So thank you for filling in, but where's Malik Mustafa when you need him? I know he was going to miss at least the first 4 games. I'd be curious to know what else, at what point he's going to be coming back, or when we're going to get an update from Malik Mustafa and his status going forward. But anyway, so the Jags then, get their touchdown. So they go up in this game. Again, it's 7-3. And then the 49ers get the ball back, and you're like, hey, brush it off, right? You got a fumble. Now it's time to get back into it, get your head back in the game. And then Brock Purdy intercepts it, pass too high for Christian McCaffrey, trying to get it over some defenders. But again, these balls are just floating on him to where it just looks like he's not able to put his full weight on that foot, where he's dealing with this toe injury. Not sure, speculation, but just given the fact that he was dealing with this injury. And remember, guys, here's what I want to say. Quick segue, because I know where this conversation is going to be going. I know that Brock Purdy looked terrible today. I know that Mac Jones looked good in the previous 2 games. And hell, Mac Jones led a game-winning drive, hobbled on, his bad knee. At the same time, so again, this is where I know where the conversation is going. You're going to have people arguing, should Mac Jones start going forward? If you are wanting to entertain that idea, at least for this game, this week 4 game against the Jags, Mac Jones wasn't 100% either. He had the PCL injury. So which one was closer to 100% of the 2? I'm guessing Brock Purdy was, and that's why they made the decision to start him. Otherwise, I do think they would have been fine giving Mac Jones another start, especially against his former team. But I just don't think Mac Jones was healthy enough to play or start in this game. I know he was the backup quarterback for this one, but again, I don't know if they felt all that comfortable. And also, I've been saying, like, they gave Brock Purdy a lot of money. Right or wrong, Brock Purdy has the bag. He's going to be starting these games unless he completely screws the pooch in games going forward. Today, I'm chalking it up mostly to him not being able to get the ball out accurately because he's not 100%. There was some bad decisions in there. There's always some bad decisions with Brock Purdy. But unless we continue to see this bad play from Purdy, then you got to keep rolling with him. He's your franchise quarterback right now. I'm sorry, but nothing is going to change that as of right now. So anyway, let me get back to it. So Brock Purdy, interception, and this is where, you're starting to see the Jags pull away even further because they're able to capitalize on yet another 49ers turnover. And this time it wasn't even that good of field position. They took this drive down 89 yards, converted a couple 3rd and longs in this one, a 3rd and 15, and I believe a 3rd and 6 in this drive to eventually, get that touchdown and score and go up, get the, I think they were up 14 at that point in that game. And then they had a field goal later in the second quarter. Oh yeah. Okay. Kyle's at the podium. Well, I was kind of just getting it to halftime anyway. So let's take a halftime to talk about what Kyle has to say at the podium. Any interesting updates from Kyle? Let me take a look. I'm seeing a couple here. Shanahan thought the team's energy level was fine. Hard to get rhythm when you have 4 turnovers. Yeah, no kidding. I want injury updates is what I want. And I don't know if we have too many of those. Again, I want to know what's going on with Ricky Pearsall. Probably we'll have more testing with him. I guess Robert Saleh and Liam Cohen had a bit of a spat after the game. Here, I'm going to share it here. with you guys really quickly. There was an exchange of words, and I can't imagine the words were all that friendly. But we got this video of here's Cohen, and then you see Robert Saleh. It looks like Cohen mostly jawing off. I mean, I don't know what Saleh's saying, but he seems pretty calm. Although there's a 49ers staffer having to hold him back. So, I don't. Okay. That whole thing. Oh, I didn't have it up on the screen. But that whole thing was this whole week. Robert Saleh saying the sign stealing, legal sign stealing. I think he was trying to be complimentary, but at the same time, use the word stealing. People are going to hang on to that and think you mean that negatively or take it negatively, and you can't blame them for that. That is a word with a negative connotation to it. It rubbed Liam Cohen the wrong way. I mean, he was getting questions about it in his presser earlier this week as well. I thought it was a nothing burger, but obviously there's a lot between these two. And you recall, Robert Saleh was he was one of the finalists for that Jags job. It was between him and Liam Cohen, and they went with Cohen. So there's still some fresh feelings in all of that, I'm sure. But yeah, we move on. That's just some petty stuff happening. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything too major coming out of the Shanahan quotes in this presser. I'm guessing as far as the injuries go, we'll learn a little bit more about that tomorrow. But yeah, let's talk about what happened after halftime. So it's 17-6 and Jacksonville is up because the 49ers were able to get a field goal before halftime as well. But then Jacksonville, they had enough time on the clock to get a field goal of their own. So the 49ers weren't able to cut into that lead all that too much. 17-6. And again, the 49ers defense, I think, were put in disadvantageous spots in the first half. And, there were some moments where I didn't recognize this defense. And maybe I kind of expected that because you don't have Nick Bosa. Again, you weren't going to have Renardo Green, right? No pass rush whatsoever from this team. In fact, I saw a stat that the team finished with 0 quarterback hits and obviously 0 sacks in this game. I mean, that's not going to do it. And again, I'm going to give this defense some grace because I also know this is going to be a lot of trial and error, and this is going to be a lot of experimentation for Robert Saleh in the next couple of weeks to figure out what combinations of this defensive line or this rotation work for me. Who can give me the base downs and be most effective there? Who could give me the pass rush? Well, today, no pass rush from anybody, so definitely should go back to the drawing board on this one for the 49ers. I'm sure there was a couple of pressures maybe from some guys. I want to say there was, Bryce Huff had a run stop play that he had a tackle for loss on. But anyway, I just think there's still a lot for this defense to kind of evolve into without Bosa. Like, they're going to have to change some things around, figure some things out. So I kind of saw that. You saw that in the first half. Then in the second half, I felt like it tightened up for them. Right out of halftime, you have the Jags punting. So, you get in a situation where this defense is giving your offense some opportunities. And then 49ers first play coming out of halftime, literally the first play, by the way, out of halftime. Well, the first play of their drive after the half, I should say, in the third quarter. Purdy's pass gets tipped at the line, and it goes straight to Lloyd, their linebacker, who's apparently on a contract here. He's playing his butt off. So he had 2 interceptions in this game. That was his second of the day on the tipped pass at the line. So, yeah, again, like you say to yourself, this defense puts you in a position where you have a shot here and another turnover happens. Like it just felt like the offense and even the special teams at one point, we'll get there in a second, just shot themselves in the foot at every turn. It made 0 sense. This was the opposite of complimentary football. You just did not see team play out there. again, I just felt like the defense, I felt like they did enough. They did enough, I thought, to get the 49ers a win, and that's even with everything that happened in this game. Even well into the fourth quarter, they were giving this offense an opportunity. So then, the 49ers turned it over on the interception, and then the Jags get a field goal. Warner had a forced fumble, but the Jags recovered it on that one. But Fred Warner's forced fumble broke Patrick Willis's team record for fumbles. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. But Fred is so, he's been so close to turnovers, right? Like, I tweeted earlier, I was like, he's got to lead the league in near picks. Like, I feel like he has at least one a game where you're like, oh, so close. He just doesn't quite seem to come away with it. But I love Fred. I think he, even with everything, he played his game. And then, so after that, the Jags get their field goal. And then on the following drive, the 49ers then punt. So it's like, dude, guys, we're running out of time here. Guys are dropping the ball. Kendrick Bourne had a drop on third down. That one was one of the balls that was, I thought, thrown okay from Brock Purdy. Like, that should have absolutely been caught from Bourne, and it was a drop. And again, you're just like, we're running out of time here. Once again, we need a defensive stop. Well, the bad thing was on that punt. That's the one that the special teams allowed the Jags to get the touchdown. It was Bayshul Tootin, right? I believe. Or Parker Washington. Sorry. I believe it was Parker Washington who got that touchdown for the Jags on the punt return. So then you're like, all right, well, on to the fourth quarter we go. And then still, it's kind of a miracle that the 49ers even had a chance there at the end. But they both exchange punts. The 49ers get a touchdown, which, puts them in a position to get close, cut the lead at least. And then I do have to say, Shanahan called a screen for Tungus just outside. I think it was on the Jags 21. That drive I really liked. It was a well-executed drive. Great play calling from Kyle Shanahan. 2 games in a row now where we see just perfectly timed screen calls for the 49ers, and this one ended up as a touchdown for Tungus. And then the Jags missed a field goal. So you're like, we have some life. Here we go. As the 49ers are, down, I forgot how much they were down at that point. It was 26-21 at that point. So they're only down 5, which makes it big because had they made the field goal, they would have gone up 8, which still the 49ers could, conceivably catch up to. They'd have to score and get a 2-point, but fact that he missed, it's like, okay, you just need to score and you can win this game. 49ers went into their final drive with 3.5 minutes left in the fourth. And on the very second play of that drive, Eric Armstead kills all hope and dreams of the 49ers on a single fumble. And so seems very fitting, right? The Eric Armstead is the one to effectively end the 49ers' chances in this one. And yeah, I think, again, I just think the story comes down to the 49ers offense forcing the defense to have to do too much. The 49ers defense do deliver. I think they, like I said, they did enough. And then the offense and special teams shooting themselves in the foot. So that's it. Well, I do want to say, I feel like the team had some fight in them at the end. Again, maybe not so much the offense. Brock Purdy could be better. But the defense, I saw a lot of good from the defense in the second half. I saw life in them. I saw the want to fight. My brother here in the comments says, loves what Stout is giving us. Yeah, Stout had a pick that was called back due to a DPI penalty. When I saw the replay, I feel like the camera angle that they showed on the replay wasn't too zoomed in. Like I didn't really see. It kind of looked like he grabbed. Was it Travis Hunter on that one? Kind of looked like he grabbed him, but I have to see like the replay on again because people were calling it a ticky tack call, and I don't know if I could say that with certainty right now. But in any case, I do like what Upton Stout is doing. He's only going to get better. He's shown a lot of good. I feel like we've seen a lot of good from, this defense here and there. And they had a valiant effort today without, one of their best players in Nick Bosa, even without having any sacks, even with Trevor Lawrence having a lot of, time to throw most of this game. I thought the defense showed me something, and they've been showing me something all year. So I still feel good about them, but I don't feel good about the offense right now. And if Purdy's not 100%, is he going to be 100% by Thursday? Now remember, the 49ers have a short week playing on Thursday against a divisional opponent, no less, the Rams, who won today against another undefeated team. So both the Colts and the 49ers lose today. The Eagles and the Bucks played each other, who were both undefeated. The Eagles won that game, so the Eagles look legit. I mean, we figured that. But the Rams beat the Colts. They got to feel pretty good about that one. Playing at home on Thursday against the Niners, and they'll have the same record, sitting at 3-1. I believe they'll be playing for first place in the NFC West in that game on Thursday. So I do have concerns about, how Brock Purdy's going to feel after having played a game. Like, I don't know if he finished the game, so I'm not going to say he re-aggravated it, but did he make it so, did he delay his getting to 100%, if that makes sense? Like, I don't know, but it was clear that he just didn't look right, and I hope that he looks better on Thursday, or else I'll have concerns. I'll have big concerns for that game. We need this offense to figure it out fast in this one. There's no excuse. Like I said at the beginning, there's no excuse for this offense to look as discombobulated as they did today. And even outside of, Brock Purdy and some of his throws, there were several drops in this game. It just didn't look very cohesive. It was disappointing. It was very disappointing from the offense. So hopefully another week, we'll see. We wait to see what happened with Ricky Pearsall. I mean, again, it's a short week. I wonder if that's why they were like, hey, like we don't feel like we need you. It's not a playoff game, so we're not going to throw you out there if your knee isn't feeling right, Pearsall. We have a game on Thursday, so we're just going to keep you on the sideline. I don't know. Kendrick Bourne was a little disappointed today with some of the drops. Demarcus Robinson, just out of necessity, right? When they no longer had Pearsall, and then Bourne had one of those drops. You saw Purdy turning to Demarcus Robinson a couple times. And, Thursday's game's going to be a revenge game potentially for him. So hopefully we see Demarcus Robinson get a little more going here in the coming games. They might need it. And in training camp, he did look like a friendly target to the quarterbacks. So I think we see that a little bit more, but a lot hinges, I think, on Ricky Pearsall's availability. And we'll probably know more about that tomorrow. If I had to guess, he doesn't practice much this week. But yeah. All right. Well, we knew it was going to happen at some point, guys. I know this isn't the outcome that we wanted, but hey, the 49ers still have excelled our expectations as a whole. I think the 49ers defense has, exceeded our expectations as a whole. So I still feel good about that. And the 49ers have to have short memory, as do we. We move. Thursday Night Football in LA. I'll be in town. I don't know if I'm going to the game yet. I haven't bought tickets, but hopefully if I do go, they win. They better. But all right, guys, appreciate all of you that tuned in. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. Tomorrow I'll be going live with Weston. We'll give another postmortem of today's game, and then also we'll try to find some silver linings and nominate a player of the week. We'll have to do some digging. We'll have to think real hard about that one for this game. But I appreciate all of you. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live next. For now, have a good rest of your Sunday, folks. Peace.